Hello and welcome to the SC Playbook podcast out of NRL Supercoach round 16, proudly brought to you by Mortgage Choice SCW. I'm your host, Tim Williams, here today with me, as always, to talk through the second mini buy round of the NRL Supercoach season, the high-flying, and I mean high-flying, Supercoach Spy. How are you, mate?
Good fellas, into the 700s, which is nice.
Nice that you've got time for us today.
Yeah, I brushed you last week, but I just needed sometimes when you're playing at this level, you need a mental break, just a week off, so refresh things, and worked out well because I had a good weekend. Thanks Herbie Farnworth, Saturday night, but yeah, into the 700s, so ticking along where I want to be. It's nice to be in triple digits. I think it's a good target point for any year to try and get there and then go, all right, let's now see where we can end up. So we'll see if we can keep tracking up. But feeling good, mate, as of right now.
Going very, very well there, mate. And Oztag finals tonight, semi-final, grand final, double header.
Yeah, double header. I don't know if we've got any subs, so it could be a fair old night for the boys.
How are the boys shaping up?
I don't know, with all the dads and workers, our preparation's been great. I think we've played twice in 9 weeks, but it's what docos are made from, mate.
Yeah, exactly right. Here's your moment.
Yeah, hopefully we've still got 8 come kick off.
How are you feeling personally?
All right, in the zone. I've been listening to Tiger Woods in the car, so, man, what better way to prep?
Also with us today, Matty the Waterboy. Busy today, Matty, but he's found a bit of time for an intro and some trades later on.
Yeah, I have. I'm a bit rattled by the double header semi-final final chat. That's extremely arrogant to assume you're just going to win the semi-final and call a double header.
Yeah, true.
You can't prepare to lose, mate. You got to prepare for both. And
fair enough.
If the worst happens, you deal with it at the time.
Well, speaking of losing, I am dropping down the ranks, and it is really annoying me. I never thought I'd been going badly, but I keep going down, and it's very annoying. I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to listen for the next hour.
Yeah. Mate, Ralph Wiggum, can you pinpoint where it all went wrong? Sorry, I shouldn't be that harsh. Where it's going wrong.
I don't know. And that's the problem. If I made a terrible decision, or I missed Fletcher Sharpe, that's one. I've missed a couple, but it hasn't been a disaster. I just think I don't know. It's the highest I've ever been by a long way. So it's still a good year. I don't know. Maybe I was going a bit better than I thought I was, or I thought I was going better than I actually was at the start of the year. But yeah.
A lot of the time, Matty, I feel it can be, and I copped a lot of this, felt this last year. I was like, my team was going okay for the most part. I didn't feel particularly bad, but I could not move and I was dropping rank. It was like, all right, you get to the end of the round and go, all right, most of my players performed pretty well, got a half-decent captain, but you missed the big score each week. And there's been a bit of that the last probably month since you've sort of started to drop off a little bit because you're going really well early in the year. There's been some big scores last month or so. Have you been missing them, aka like Herbie on the weekend? Or?
So I got in Herbie on the weekend, which was nice.
What did you score?
8-6.
Okay.
So if I didn't get if I didn't draft Herbie this week, it would have been.
That's concerning.
It would have been a disaster. But for example, I think I spoke last week. But last week, my 2 trades were Lehigh In, who knocked himself out bombing a try and got 0, and Nathan Lawson, who got injured as well. So it's just Look, there's a lot of luck that's involved, and my luck hasn't been great the last few weeks. My luck was amazing the first few weeks. Picking, had my captaincy run was awesome. My captaincy run at the moment's been horrendous. So. It's a long year. I can't believe it. It's round 15. It feels like this season's been going on for about 20,000 weeks. Yeah. There's still another half a season to go. So
yeah,
crazy.
You feel like it's gone for ages, but there's still 12 rounds left.
Plenty of time.
There's a lot of time to come good. Kuma Stallions, 995 points. Dropped about 40 odd spots to a tick over 2,000. So still going pretty well. Held rank. I was not a Herbie Farnworth owner. So I didn't get out of jail. The squad went bloody well. But when you miss the big one, Spy, there's not a lot you can do. So, yeah, a bit disappointing. Herbie's fast becoming that. I feel like each year that you have a player where you go, he just killed me. I was too stubborn to get him, or I missed the boat, whatever it might be. And very quickly becoming Herbie for basically any non-owner after the weekend.
Yeah, he's did some damage, didn't he? Speaking of those blokes you own, we've obviously had a laugh about me and Garrick for a long time now. For the first time since he scored 4 tries on the weekend, I didn't want him to go well because I owned him. So did everyone, and they were vice captaincies, and he scored 2 in the first half. I'm like, what he's doing?
Even the tries weren't good for you.
I know. So that's just how it goes. Sometimes we have our people, and they just continue to break our hearts.
On today's show, trade talk to lead into. We're just going to talk about how many trades we've got left and how we're feeling. Bit of green room chat off the back of that. So some interesting stuff coming there. Team list Tuesday, Supercoach pointers. Fletcher Sharpe has been named despite an injury concern, along with a host of Origin stars who have been named to back up from Origin 2 over in Perth for now. I suspect that won't stay the same. Our topic for today's show, with injuries to Haumole Olakau'atu and Keon Kaloa-Matangi, everyone's looking for a 2RF, a back rower. We're going to look at the best replacements in the 2RF with a deep dive into that position. Spy talk, things you may have missed. Hot topics for the show, Cleary to Jerome Hughes. Is that the play this week, or is it too late if you missed it? Round 16 trade and skipper plans, and then our listener questions to wrap up the show. Guys, we've got a merch drop not far away. Navy and white tees coming soon, so save those pennies. This one that I'm wearing right now, a couple of weeks away. We'll let you know more details to come, but yeah, get the pennies in the pocket. And even more exciting, the SC Playbook community meetup. Really want to get as many of our community to this and just have a good old-fashioned Supercoach day out at the footy, and we can dribble about the greatness of fantasy sports together. We're going with the SC Playbook contributor team and our community to the Roosters and Tigers clash at Allianz Stadium at Moore Park on Sunday, July 6th. Less than 3 weeks away, so snap those tickets up. Allianz Stadium, they've given us exclusive space at the American Express Garden, the stadium's premier beer garden. They've given subscribers 50% off tickets. That link to the discount is in our WhatsApp community. If you're a subscriber but not in the WhatsApp and want to come along to it, flick us an email at supercoachplaybook@gmail.com. That is full word Supercoach, and I'll flick you the link there. Our regular community, if you're not a subscriber, also getting 10% off tickets. The link to that is on our social channels. If you scroll back through them a little bit, it'll also be in our YouTube video description of tonight's show, but you can also email us at that address as well if that's easier. They're selling fast. Response has been great to date, so basically we want to fill out a bay of 1,000 people. So if you're in Sydney or in surrounding areas, or you want to come over from Perth or wherever you're listening, get to that one. Looking forward to it. Unlimited league leader Momax, coached by Jack, retains his lead in first overall out of about 170,000 coaches. And Lockie's mum, coached by David, topped the week with 1,330 points. Trades, Spy. Not our trades for the week. How many trades do you have left, and how are you feeling about it? I
have 14 heading into this week and feeling good. Haven't overplanned this year or gone too hectic, but every couple of weeks I've just had a quick little look just to see how I'm tracking with the buyers mainly. I need a couple of trades heading into round 18, and that'll leave me with 11 trades after round 18, all going to plan. There's only then 3 guys I desperately want back. One will be Payne Haas. One I want to cement my hooker for the run home. And the other one may not even come back, but it would be a potential Hines or Hughes to Cleary if he comes back post-Origin firing. Which leaves about 8 trades. Might need one little downgrade in there somewhere for 7. There's no one else I want, and I'm going, I need to get these guys back. It just means I can get some guys back, but yeah, I'd like to have, 3 or 4. Probably want at least 3 or 4 for those last 5-6 weeks just to play around a little bit, maybe some pods if needed, but at the moment it'd be 7 or 8 trades in the bank, which I'm happy with. Not going to go mad and start blowing them now, but happy enough. I'm boring on the line a little bit, but
yeah, and it sort of piqued my interest. I have 18 left at the moment, so at this stage of the season, you and I traditionally go at a relatively similar sort of aggressiveness on trades. You've gone very aggressive this year. I was talking to Maxi pre-show as well, Maxi Bryden, who's flying. He's in a tick over 1,000th as well. He's got 13 left, and I sort of went, okay, shit, I hadn't gone out of my way to bank extra trades this year. I went relatively hard pretty early on. And then I think probably around this Origin period, there's just been weeks where I haven't liked trades or I've had decent buy-on numbers. And I think like on the 2 major buy-ons, I've maybe used 2 or 1 or something and saved them there. So as I said, I hadn't gone particularly conservative, but I've got a fair few more than you. And that is absolutely not a case of me trying to rub in. It's just a curiosity because my gut feel when speaking to yourself and Maxi, when you mentioned that, was that you both said the same. My team's set up, I've got depth, I'm all good, but I guarantee you've both got some nuffs in there. I know there's a Tui Simpkins. You might have some injured players.
Oh, a bit of respect for Tukey.
He did play off the bench.
33 for me on the weekend in the
Take
buy-round.
that far out.
But yeah, Tukey and Royce Hunt are the two that don't.
So
play
that's
for
what I
me.
mean. Like, you go, all right, you've got trades. Squad's a man bigger this year. Your depth probably okay, but there's some nuffs in there. 12 rounds to go, 14 trades. So you've got a touch over one trade you can make per round. You've already got a few players you need to get back in, get you down to that sort of 8-ish mark you said when you do it. But the concern I have is injuries. We know there's going to be injuries. Not as much restings in the back end of the season, which may or may not occur. We'll see how that ends up. But last year it wasn't too bad, the late season restings, because that final round of the comp, everyone had something to play for, basically. But there will be injuries to key players, and then all of a sudden 8 becomes 7, 6, 5, 4. It's not to sit here and say panic, but I think you can get caught up in, my team's pretty well set, I only got a couple in, I'll be fine. That can change very quickly, as we saw on the weekend with keepers like Olakau'atu, Matangi, who we're chasing a bit more information on, but keepers go down very quickly and that changes.
Yeah, it definitely does. One factor you'd need to figure out is that depth in your side. Do you have coverage if guys get injured? If I look at my side, for example, speaking of Ruben Garrick, if he was to get hurt with 7 rounds left, I could just park him. I don't need to trade him out or in because I've got a bunch of centres already. So I might just sit him there and just say, well, thanks for coming, but I don't need to use a trade on you.
And that is key to people out there that are sitting there in a similar boat of, 12, 13, 14 trades, whatever it might be. Depth is key. And I think that's why Max is pretty bullish about it. So he's sitting really well, nice in the rankings. He's has a lot of cash generation in his team. His squad value's very high. I can't remember the exact number. But he reckons, having not looked at his team, he's got a lot of depth. So if you don't have depth and you've got a few nuffs and your trades are getting low, you go, shit.
Then you have to save them.
But if you've got depth, you can afford to be more aggressive.
Yeah, 100%. What was I going to say to you just then? Something real good, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Good insight.
Yeah.
So
back at my best, week 2 after a week off.
Yeah, so I'm 18 leading into this round, and I was like, okay, that's decent, but I'm feeling particularly good about it after it. And
definitely, you've got a bit of room to play
a boost
with
as well, which all going to plan and has been for a while, around 19 or 20 to sort of get to that final team as quick as possible. I will say, I think the other factor this year, Spy, is that, and I could be wrong, but I feel like in recent years there's been a lot more Origin players that we've wanted to get back into our teams or traded out and want to get back in, that sort of stuff. I could be wrong, but I just don't feel like there's been as many of those this year.
No, I don't think there's many to get back in.
And I mean, you could add players like Angus Crichton, who I think he's actually going to be a good buy post-Origin, but hasn't set the world alight Supercoach-wise at the Roosters this season. We'll get to Nathan Cleary later and questions on him, but you're not necessarily getting him back in later on. So, yeah, I think it has been easy to manage this year, or will be in the back end, in terms of we're not trying to get back 7 or 8 gun Origin players that we need in our teams.
Exactly. I do agree. And what I was going to say before was, if I've got, say, it's penciled in as 8 trades post-Origin, but let's say it's 6 or 7, I'm not going to suddenly chase 6 pods in those last rounds. At least 4 or 5 of those will just be for those injuries and covering stuff. And maybe 1 or 2 I might go, I might have a little crack here at someone.
You lose that luxury of going, you know what, I've got a few trades to play with. This bloke's not performing overly well, so I'm going to go with this bloke who's low ownership with a soft run and go bang into that. You lose a bit of that luxury to do that. Doesn't mean you can't, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Also, in about 70 odd years on your headstone, I'm going to pencil in save a boost for Origin, after Origin. Tim Williams, 2014 to 70 years from now?
You reckon I'm going to kick the can before you?
I reckon I might go a week after. I'll be 105. That's pretty old.
So heartbroken that I'm gone that
I'll just feel like,
pull the pin.
That'll do me.
Nothing else to live
That'll
for.
do. No more pods. Sorry, guys. Imagine us doing a pod at 100. She's be good.
Hope I've won Supercoach by then. If I'm still working at 100, shoot me. Team this Tuesday, Spy. Very interesting. Pretty well all Origin players have been named, except for Penrith. Ivan Cleary, true to his earlier word, rested all his Penrith contingent. And Kurt Capel rested by the Warriors. And Aside from that, pretty well all named. The addition to that is, of course, flying over the Tasman, another few hours on the flight back from Perth. So I don't expect it to stay that way, but coaches are giving their players every chance to back up from Origin. Starting at the Tigers, Heath Mason named at 5'8", Latu Fainu on the bench, as is Talon De Silva, as is Jack Bird. So it's currently the smallest bench in the history of rugby league. I mean, even there, that's the Friday night game, the one Friday night game. Jerome Luai's been named back up. Hudson Young's been named back up. Surely they're at 100 to 1, especially Luai will have played 80 minutes on Wednesday night.
If Hudson's off the bench, I'd back him in, but
yeah,
we'll see.
You'd have to get catch the red eye back Wednesday night after
you fly
Origin.
back Thursday morning, get back Thursday night. I reckon
the Raiders have absolutely no reason to play him with where they're sitting.
But if he plays 25 minutes,
yeah,
might be keen. And then Jerome, if he can play, he'll play. I reckon, but yeah, it just depends on that.
Huge.
Depends on that flight schedule.
Anyway, as is. Jed Stewart, the son of Ricky, debuts on the wing for the Raiders. Savalio Tamale is out longer term, about 10 weeks, I think, for Tamale. So he is a sell at the Warriors. Leka Halasima and Jacob Laban on the edges for the Warriors. At the Knights, bit going on here. Fletcher Sharpe has been named to play. Dom Young on the wing, sides back with the Knights. Bradman Best is returning at centre. Schiller's out. McCarthy's out. KP's backing up from Origin at the moment. Fletcher Hunt is out. So plenty going on in that back line. Spy, let's go to Fletcher Sharpe though. Ruled out with a calf injury from round 15. People sold. People looked at the draw to come for the Newcastle Knights. A calf injury. There was concern as to whether or not he plays this week. Adam O'Brien came out and said that he was close to playing last week and expects him to be good to go for this week. Did a bit of a deeper dive into the draw, and you look at round 16 against the Dolphins over in Perth. Not a bad matchup. Raiders round 17 in Newcastle. Very tough. Into a bye. Into the Storm in round 19. That's in Newcastle. Warriors in round 20. That's in Newcastle. Raiders again in round 21. Into another bye. Into the Panthers. The draw's very tough. Did your trigger finger get a little bit tempted there or not?
Not at all. Every time the Knights make a line break, he scores. He's unbelievable at it. So that doesn't mean he's definitely staying my side long term, but I'm not dropping a bloke who's going that well in a side that's not scoring points. So if they can turn it on a little bit, they didn't last week, but the week before with a bit more of their contingent, they threw the ball around a little bit and looked pretty good. So I'm just going to wait and see on Sharpie. I'm happy to hold him most likely for the season. He's just ability to back up and score a try, and he makes a bunch of tackles. I'm a big fan of Fletch.
Yeah.
And also on draws, I've said it all year, but I'm not buying much into tough opposition this year. I just think everyone's susceptible to points outside of maybe a Warriors night game I don't love. Weirdly, the Knights playing against them is not ideal because they just have low scoring battles.
Bludgers.
Outside of that, even Melbourne, like Drinky the other week, I was confident enough playing him. I was never going to captain him, but he scored a ton down in Melbourne. Like points can be scored against anyone.
Yeah, and we sort of had an emergency phone call when the news came through to have a chat about the prospects of it, and you made that good point. Like, there's not that many sides that you go, shit, like we're playing them, how bad is that for a Supercoach matchup? Put it this way, the Knights haven't scored points all year, and Fletcher Sharpe is averaging 76 points.
It's crazy.
I think the other factor in Fletcher Sharpe and the willingness to hold him, the games against the Raiders, Storm and Warriors, they're all in Newcastle. If they were all away from home, there's 3 games, I'd be like, okay, like away from home is a bit of a different beast at times, but all in Newey. So yeah, he's a hold for me. I understood why people potentially sold last week, but I just think he's a fantastic footballer and a bloke that I want in my Supercoach team. So,
and he should only get better in theory as well,
as
long as he's healthy.
Moving down the list, had the Rabbitohs, Kieran Klein-Matangi, Cody Walker and Campbell Graham named on the extended bench. Spy, a huge one here is Kieran Klein-Matangi, who initial thoughts were maybe 6-8 weeks out. The Bunnies have failed to name full bench because they've got so many injuries, I gather. And we'll get to our back row shortly, but let's just mention Keon now, who's currently among the most traded out players. I was looking at holding him if he was that 4 to 5 week mark and potentially just bringing back in for the run home because we'd want him. The fact that he's on the extended bench, unless they're waiting for more scan results and something comes out that he's like 6+ weeks or 5+ weeks, he just becomes a hold, right?
Yeah, and I was reading coming into the podcast, and by the time this goes live, people already know this, I assume, but seems like Keon could be day to day, as quoted by the Bunnies, because he must have seen a specialist today.
Yeah.
And said you don't need surgery, which means he's pushing for this week.
Far
so if
out.
that's the case, we definitely hold him. But yeah, even if he got confirmed, 4+ weeks is when you start going, okay, can I utilise that
At
at
that
800K? I'd be selling. But as we spoke about with trades just before, like there's a fair effort to hold on if you can cover him, and he's coming off the back of like 3 tons in a row.
If we get a 1 to 3 weeks, I'm holding.
Yep.
4, I have a good hard think.
Yep.
Especially because Ola's also injured, and I'm like, oh, well, I've got a back row to move on anyway.
Yep.
5+, I'll just sell. But 1 to 3, which it might be, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Also, the Broncos, Karapani retained on the wing, Selwyn Cobbo on the extender bench. At the Sharkies, Mwene Hiroti is out, Talakai at centre. At the Roosters, Celeste Feketi at lock. Victor Radley is out of that game with a head knock. At the Eels, Dylan Brown suspended just for 1 week. Josh Papali'i starts at 5'8".
It's exciting.
It is very exciting. At the Titans, Tino Fasua-Malawi and Mo Fotuaika have been benched on return from Origin duties. Whether that plays out, time will tell. And Brian Kelly dropped. There you go, Spy.
That is interesting. Don't think that's ever happened. History of the Titans. B. Kelly. But anyway.
Needs to work out how to defend.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough.
Topic, 2RF deep dive. Now, the first thing I'll mention, so Haumole Olakau'atu at 660K, 4 to 6 weeks out. Is he a straight up sell?
Yep. Especially, I'm going to imagine that shoulder could go again upon return based on absolutely nothing, but just makes sense to me. I bet I'm right. I think he's definitely a sell.
I do too.
You miss all the good period of having him. Manly, who knows where they're going to be at in 6 weeks' time. So,
could be... They might not win. They could win the next 10, or they might lose the next 10.
They could be out of contention and he doesn't even come back, or they could be flying towards
Who knows?
finals. It's Manly.
And Ola, I've owned him since round 1, and I've loved owning him. He's been fantastic for me. Averaged well, but when he comes back, if he comes back and goes well, he'll have his 80 to 90 to 100, but he'll also have his 40s. So I'm like,
He's not a must-own.
He's not a must-own, no. Keon, we've spoken about at 795K. Just wait for more information later in the week around how long he is out for. But yeah, if he's that sort of 1 to 3, we're definite holds for both of us. Worth mentioning, Spy, we're going to go through predominantly the back rowers here, back row options. But of course, Dylan Lucas owners that have him at centre, you can go Lucas up. That'll open up the CT dub for you. Front row forward, if you've got a Tino, whoever it might be, switching up, you can get front row forward options in. Really want to focus on the 2RF though, because I feel like we've spoken at nauseum about CT dub and front row. 2RF probably not as much.
Fair enough. And just quickly on that trade, if you don't know how to do that, you hit the trade button and there'll be a little S on your app or your screen, and just click that S and wonderful things happen.
Yeah, they do. So click trade on Ola. He'll go out. Then you hover over the whoever's
It'll be Dylan Lucas in this case. Click on the S and he'll flick straight up to the forward pack for you. And that's how you do.
Bob's your uncle, and
that's it.
Jacob Kiraz in your Supercoach team.
Done.
All right, options. Number 1, Elias Katoa, 648K, 74 point per game average, 60 break even. Have you got him yet or not?
Yeah, I got him 2 weeks ago.
I think if you don't own Eli Katoa, job done.
He's averaging 74 and he's underachieving this year.
Yeah.
Supercoach wise.
Yeah, you just get him, right?
And I don't even know if he has another bye.
I think they're done.
Maybe got one, but 6 plays a major round, plays 19 this week. He plays every game this year, pending health. So number 1 by a street.
Yeah. Lock him in. Next on the list, the 4th most traded in play this week, and you are a happy owner. Aaron Clark, dual position, 672K, averaging 70 points per game this year with a break even of 80. You watch him as close as anyone as a Supercoach owner, Spy, and you've had him for a while. What do you reckon?
Played 55 and 49 minutes the last 2 weeks, so that concerns me. Pumped out awesome scores in that time, but I want his minutes to be closer to 60 if I want him as a season keeper, and definitely as a trade-in. So for me, I wouldn't be necessarily going him just now. Just interested to see how they roll him out and how big a break he gets in the middle of games, but that's a little bit concerning for me.
They've got so many forwards, forwards, the Warriors. So then you mentioned, like, Cable will come back into this team. There's another one. Lots of options for minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't play round 18. Does cover this week and round 19, which could be really handy. So Look, he's right up there on the list because
Yeah.
we'll find by going through this a lot of the gun back rowers aren't necessarily available or kicking on at the moment. So I still like him, but it's not as slam dunky as it
I
seems.
suppose the thing is, like, he's sure he played the lesser minutes, the 49 for 78 points and 55 for 72. In those games, he had 50 and 62 in base. Like, does it matter that much if he plays 50 to 55? It's not ideal, but, like, he's offloading, JP tackle bars.
He's always going to be really good for you.
Yeah.
I just think if he's playing those minutes, there might be an opportunity to have a look for some other players or get a centre instead. I'd probably rather a centre with upside who plays 80 than a 50-minute Aaron Clark. But I'll tell you what, if Aaron plays 60 or 70 on any given week, you'd cheer.
Which he will at times.
Yeah, he will. So I still like him, but just that little flag.
Yeah, put it this way, absolutely no knock on anyone wanting to buy. Number 7, here's a very interesting one, especially if he does back up and start for the Raiders by Hudson Young, 788k, 105 break even. I'm going to get it up as we speak. I don't have it off the top of my head, but the ownership of Hudson Young, I think because of just the early try scoring spree and the high price and Origin looming.
Yeah, look today, it's about 6 or 7%.
Yeah, there you go.
It's no one. So yeah, I think behind Eli Katoa, he's probably the one, and I'm happy to potentially even get him now. That was more likely if Keon was going to be out long term. But now that Kalamatangi may be cleared, I'll be holding on to him. So you've then got to find money and how you're going to get to him and all the rest, and then cover round 18, which he'll be in Origin. So he's pretty damn good though.
They have... He's round 18 due to Origin, you'd imagine. This is an absolute bludger. Round 19, the Raiders have the bye, so you get 2 games of him. The beauty of this week is plays game 1. So we'll know if he doesn't start for the Raiders, if he comes back from Perth and plays off the bench.
It's an easy no.
You just don't.
Yep.
If he comes back and starts, you get 2 games. You know what? You get 2 games. He could play 50 minutes, misses 18, 19. You wait. I don't think you're Hudson Young yet. Like, for him to repay the investment in 2 weeks at 788k with a break-in of 106, he's got to score bloody well.
Yeah, I'll disagree slightly. I reckon you can have a crack if you've got the trades up your sleeve and or depth. For example, I can cover round 18 reasonably well at the moment and 19.
Key word at the moment.
Yep.
Gee, that changes quickly.
I mean, sometimes you want to take a punt on a bloke who could go 120, and then all of a sudden you're absolutely skyrocketing. But I agree with your risk, but it just...
Hudson can also go 40-40 is the issue.
Does have it in him. Minutes in Origin are key. If he plays any more than sort of 30, up to that 30 or 40, be very physical, then he's got to get it back from Perth.
I think he's around...
It's a big minutes risk. But if he plays like 18 minutes or something, whatever reason, I go, okay. I wouldn't write it off, but you are playing with a bit of fire, absolutely.
I just think he's around 20 by. Yeah. Britton Nickera, my boy, finally repaid a bit of faith. 9th most traded in play this week at 531k, an average of 60 points per game. I wish he was averaging 108. He's averaging 60, scored 108 points on the weekend, a break even of 7. A gun of seasons passed by, meandering this year. Going okay, but not setting the world alight. What do you reckon?
Well, I own him as well, mate.
Me
And I reckon
too.
he might have found a bit of groove. But he's
He
very
looks
risky.
good.
He's got a bit of risk in him.
His base is
because
trash.
His base is horrible. It's kind of like, it's a little bit like owning a centre who gets a fair bit of ball.
Geez, he looks good though.
Yeah, he does look very good. He did it last year. It's like he finds match fitness or something and just barrels into the back half of the season. But
Loves the back.
he looks really good. If you buy him, which we do, be prepared for a 40 or a 38 or something.
Yeah.
But 108 last week, and he didn't do anything outrageous.
Nah.
He's just a good player. So,
Sharkies will have everything to play for the rest of the season. Look, they go Brisbane at Suncorp. That's fine.
I like it.
Melbourne at Amy the week after into a bye. I've owned him for, I don't know, maybe 3 rounds or so, and I've watched him very closely. He looks outstanding, but the base is poor. The Sharkies are very hot and cold. The price is the only luring factor, not only, but the main luring factor to me. But he's also that price for a reason because he hasn't been great Supercoach-wise this year. I think he's a solid buy. I do think they're a better, they're better options. You got someone like Aaron Clark. Yes, he's another 150k, but the base he's punching out. He also has attacking upside. That ball playing through the middle, he can jag, try, assist. I think someone like Aaron Clark is a better option. I don't think I would be going to Britton Nikora. I think you're banking on him doing what he did at the back end of last year. Maybe he does, but he could also average 50.
Yeah, I've got a few other bikes.
Plus no buy coverage is the main. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
He doesn't play the next major one. He plays the 2 minis, so that's handy.
He's handy and he's got upside, but he's not without substantial risk.
Yeah.
In saying that, you don't have to play him every week. That's
True.
the other thing. If you plug him into your back row and he facilitates other trades elsewhere, maybe you bring him in and he's your fifth second rower and you play him
at
as needed
530K.
in those trickier rounds. That's the upside of Nikora for me, and I played him last weekend because obviously it was a major buy and he banged out a ton. So that's what he can do. Then he could also score you a 33.
Yeah, like Storm round 17 down there, that is a tough matchup. He's going at the better defensive edge over there around Cam Munster.
Yep.
You could sit him if you need to.
Absolutely.
By round 17.
Yeah, but I think you've sewn him up pretty well.
Yeah. Bo Fermor, he interests me, Spy. Very good footballer. Should be playing Origin. 588k, 11th most traded in play this week. His dual CT dub 2RF. So anyone with Lucas at centre, you do the little hoo-ha there. Very valuable, especially for people lower on trades to have that covering both positions. Averaging 66, averaging substantially higher in the back row. I don't have the updated numbers, but I think last week it was like 72 in the back row. 72 break even. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, Para into Cowboys, snub from Origin, bit to prove. I like it. Again, he's the kind of bloke he might and probably has recently gone anywhere between 50 and 68 6 weeks in a row.
He's had base of 52 plus 7 weeks in a row.
Yeah, but he'll never severely let you down because he'll, barring an injury, of course, that goes without saying all the time, he'll get you his 50-odd, 55.
He's got attack in him.
He's got tons in him, available in centre, dual position.
Did he run off Foz on the weekend?
Can't actually remember.
That's
Not
huge.
remember, yeah.
Can you...
I do have a spy talk on Foz tonight, which I'll speak to you
All
about.
right, between now and then, can you just double check if Bo Fermor ran off Foz?
How do I check that? Going to KO?
Go to KONRL.com, get the highlights up, and just have a quick look where. Yeah.
Yep.
But in the meantime, I'll be reading out an ad soon, mate. So when I'm reading that out, you can rip into it and just.
I don't listen to you half the time anyway, so it's
No, I know you don't. The last one on this list, mate, number 12, Tallis Duncan at 471k, 47 point per game average, 113 on the weekend, a break even of negative 22. Always loved Tallis Duncan as a footballer. Found a bit of attack on the weekend with a try and I believe a try assist. Base in recent weeks, 56, 54, 43, 42, 40, 62. So it's a bit up and down. He's playing 80 minutes on the edge. What do you reckon?
Based on last week, killing it. As you sort of mentioned, we know how good he looks like he can be. Is this the start of that or is this a blip where it might take another couple of years? I don't know. I can't answer it. Unless you had to get him this weekend, you certainly wouldn't, but could be on the radar for coming weeks.
Break even's neg 22 though, so it's like...
It's just so hard to bring a bloke in for like his first career ton and then bank on it continuing.
Yeah.
But he can play. There's no doubt about that.
Like his scores since becoming an 80-minute man on the edge been from round 9, 65, 36, 34. There was a sin bin in that. 44, 70 and 113. So he's up and there's no consistency in his base. He can pump out 60 or he can pump out 40.
He's tracking up, obviously, in the last 2 weeks. But
He
again,
is tracking up.
You speak about like small samples and large sample sizes. This is the smallest of samples. Like we've got nothing to suggest data-wise that he's suddenly going to average highly. But you could look back in a month and go, oh, that 70 and 120 was the start of him being a gun. Wouldn't shock me at all.
80-minute games last year. He did it in the back end of the season. 44 in 80 minutes, 34 in base. 64 in 80 minutes, 43 in base. 65 in 80 minutes. This is where it's up and down. 61 in base.
Yeah.
85 in 80 minutes, 52 in base with a try. 56 in 80 minutes with 50 in base. put it this way, if he retains the 80-minute edge roll and he's playing good footy, defence can be a little bit up and down at times, I think he's a good buy.
Would you prefer him or Nickera at a similar price, though?
Yeah, well, probably Nickera.
Just because he's proven.
Yeah, proven, better side.
Yep. You know, barring injury, that Nickera can be in your side the whole season. You can play him whenever you need.
Yeah.
Whereas Duncan, we don't know where he's going to be in a month. Could be crushing it. Don't know. But yeah, again, I'm not writing it off. It's just,
I don't mind it.
It's really hard to judge.
Yeah.
It's so early in his career.
The other thing I will add while it's on top of my mind, Keon Kalama-Tangi will get dual position, you would have to imagine, round 18. Dual 2-0 front row 4, which is huge for his credentials. All right. Mortgage Choice SCW. Guys, light the beacons because it has happened. We've had another rate cut and it's time to get excited. This means a few different things for the SC Playbook faithful. It could be the perfect time to refinance and save money on your loan, or if you're looking to get into the housing market, it'll allow you to borrow more money to kickstart your property journey. Reach out to Paddy and his team at Mortgage Choice SCW and start asking a few questions to find out exactly what this means to you. Normally, that'd cost you $129, but if you mention SC Playbook, it is completely free of charge. Flick the team a message on Instagram at Mortgage Choice _SCW, or you can call them on 02 9521 1611. Doesn't matter where in Australia that you're based. The little fella's been in Hawaii the last week, having his first holiday in about 4 years, I reckon, Paddy, from Mortgage Choice SCW. So he'll come back tanned, he'll be fresh, and he'll be ready to rip in and sort out the SC Playbook listeners. All right. Spy.
Just before you do, you didn't ask me who I liked in the back row.
Yeah, sorry. It was. I went through the people I had on this list. Who else do we have, Spy?
I spent days preparing for this.
Yeah, who else?
Oh, yeah, I've got two.
I might have more as well.
So we've got Jacob Preston as an obvious one. Origin candidate if injuries strike, but at this stage looking he'll be available for the doggies round 18 and 19. We know how good he can be. I love him. The downside of Preston is he doesn't always get a heap of footy running the ball, so he sort of relies on him just being a weapon and scoring tries or whatever.
He gets a lot on the left edge. Doesn't necessarily amass a lot of runs, but if he does a bit of ball playing or whatever, he gets a lot on the left, doesn't it?
But leads him into Kickout, who I think might have, I like to give credit where due, unlike some. Maxi Bryden did shout this out to me on his mini pod in my WhatsApp just directly to me yesterday. He sent me about 20 of them. It was awesome. Kickout, he's killing it this year.
I know.
Yeah.
And you know what else? Watching him, I reckon he has had about 15 tries gone begging when he's been an inch away. I'm feeling you.
He's got all the buys after this week. I really like it, hey. I'd nearly prefer Kickout over probably everyone we've mentioned, barring Eli Katoa. And even Aaron Clark, who I love, Kickout may prove to have the upside that Aaron won't if he plays 50 minutes. The caveat, of course, on Clark, as I mentioned, was anytime he plays 60 plus, you're probably getting 70 to 80 with ease. But Kickout's a nice flyer at this time of year, a buy-round flyer. Gee, he just looks good, doesn't he?
620K, like pretty good price. He looks phenomenal. The doggies are humming. And like I was going through his stats as well. Apologies to the listeners for he's in my trade talk later, but he scored 3 tries this year. He set up 3, 4. He set up 6. But like tackle bust, 9 last week, 5 the week before, 1, 3, 3, 1, 2, 4. Offloads is the big one in recent weeks. Spy. 6 last week. 3 the week before, 4 the week before, 2 the week before. He's running okay. Like he had, not known for enormous base in Supercoach. That's why he hasn't been sort of relevant in the past. But 17 last week. He had 11 the week before, 12 the week before, 12. So not heaps, but not bad.
Galvin seems to have suited him pretty well. I don't know what the plan is with him and where Burton slots in and whatnot.
Well,
but Galvin with him last weekend they looked pretty good as a pairing.
Galvin came on the right the week before, so I would imagine it'll be Burton and him.
Most likely, yeah. But just one to watch there. But I mean, Kicks is looking all right after this week.
Fun to own.
Fun to own. All those key buys. He looks a bit pottish to me.
He's never been Supercoach relevant, Spy. Does that impact you? Like he's played in good teams before. I don't think he's ever been such a focal point of attack. Like at Penrith, they had guns everywhere. Granted, he was. he's running that sweep shape a lot, where the centre runs the block and he goes out back and he tips onto the winger, and as the sweeper, as we know it, you get the try assist. He's running that a lot.
Yeah, I just think add that to the offloads in recent weeks. Of course, that may dry up based on historical data, but man, if he's found his offload, the doggies are playing well, he might just keep doing it.
Averaged 53 last year in 79 minutes, 46 in 73 minutes the year before. Years for that, 65, 59 in 22, 21.
Remember, it's for the buyers as well. We're going to need coverage for round 18 and 19. He provides both. So it's not like you're not choosing post-origin out of everyone available. This is right now, this time of year.
And he also fits that category of, I mean, if you're paying $620K for him, you probably want to keep her, but team's going to be pretty...
Could just leave him as
pretty
six.
stacked.
Yep.
So he could easily be your 4th, 5th 2RF.
Yep, sits as your backup.
No, I do like the play.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen. So we'll see whether there's room for him in the roster is the other thing. Like, I'm not going to drop someone I want to keep just to get him, but if there's an option there, yeah.
Yes, very interesting Viliami Kikau, and like Nikora, there'll be 40s, but I think he's going to have tons to finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, spy talk, stuff you may have missed.
Spy
have you
talk
worked out
this
where did Firma run off?
Yeah, I'll slide it into my third point here. Point one is the Dolphins. Obviously, absolutely queuing it at the moment. It's very good to watch, and they are just playing some serious footy. But their last 3 games have been a depleted Bulldogs, Origin week, the Dragons, who were frankly in all sorts that weekend.
Yeah.
You still had to put 50 on them, don't get me wrong. They've done well to do it, but they're struggling at the moment. Then the Cowboys, who were Origin depleted and already not defensively the best of sides. So they've gone 44, 56, 58. Just be interesting to see this weekend. They're up against the Knights, who say it every week, their defence is awesome. They just muscle up week in, week out. Or was it 6-all or something, or 10-6 last weekend with a few minutes left?
Even with players out, they had a lot of middles out last week. Still defended well.
They just front up. So, and then they got the Rabbits week after, which is sort of middling, but then Sharkies, and they get Cowboys again. But like, my point being that they've had an incredible run, so don't expect this to be the norm. I mean, obviously no one expects them to put 50 on week in, week out, but whether those 50s become 18, 20, or they stick around a 30 mark will be pretty critical to how their Supercoach guys go over the rest of the season. But obviously for now.
Yeah, on that note, question has come in from, his name's Wim. Does Wim swallow his pride and buy Herbie Farmworth at $815K?
Wim has to, I think.
This week?
Well, what's his break even? I wouldn't this week.
He's going to go up before he goes down. But Knights defence, that being said, that's not that concerning. 58 against them earlier in the year, into the bye, into the Sharkies at Shark Park. Make of that what you will.
They do have 2 buys.
They have a bye in round 21 as well. It makes me crook, but I think I'm not going to swallow my pride. I'm going to stick it out, and with blokes like Val, like Lomax,
there's options to cover.
They're players who absolutely can and possibly will score more than him on the run home. With the 2 buys, draw getting tougher, although not that tough, I just think it's a lot of money when there's a lot of good players.
You're just going to go bugger it, come this far without you, mate.
Yeah.
I've missed you 150.
Yeah.
Let's see what Val or Lomax can do. Yeah, I mean, I like that play because I'm stubborn. I'd be that exact same.
Yeah.
Like sometimes just catching up what everyone got last weekend doesn't necessarily benefit you. But then on the flip side, if you average just 90 on the run home, it's going to hurt you and hurt and hurt you. So I think it's probably the perfect week to have one more look in your sense where you go, I'm not going to get him, but if he looks untouchable versus Newcastle, then you go, oh, I am going to have to get him in, and you pay $850 rather than $815.
Him beat Gagai this week, great match, like decent defensive matchup. Gagai solid enough, so
yep. I like where your head's at, but yeah, if he looks incredible this weekend, you might just have to do it, or it'll probably ruin the rest of your season. But we'll see where we go.
What else you got, mate?
The next 2 would be try contributions from a line break on the previous play. Got brought up on Twitter yesterday. I can confirm this has happened for years. We probably don't notice much unless it's our player, but when Dylan Lucas went through beat everyone, had a quick play of the ball, 2 tries, and they scored next play. Even watching live, I fully expected him to get that contribution. So
It's happened for years.
yeah, there's nothing amiss there. That's
When blokes
that's
run
what it is.
90, not that he ran 90, but when blokes run 90 or 80 or 70 or 60 and get tackled a metre out and they score off a dummy half to tip on,
Yeah, or just 2-3 passes
I like
against
it.
scattered defence. Absolutely.
Free notes to try
Absolutely. And finally, Kieran Foran, combining with his back rower, Bo Firma, last week on the left.
Ooh.
Actually, funny you say that because my third point of Spy Talk was I didn't watch it crazy close last Friday night. I was kind of like having a yarn watching and whatnot, but Foran wasn't playing his old school hard at the line direct. And I wonder if that's a conscious decision to be like, mate, can't keep doing this or you're never going to play games for us. So it just looked like he was just playing a little bit deeper off the line.
Great.
And
I'm going to have to go back and watch the Titans game again. Thanks.
Do a few sets. And dare I say it, just a smidge sideways. It might have just happened once or twice and it caught my attention. And maybe
Wash
it did.
your mouth out. Kieran Foran doesn't run sideways.
For Foran. It was probably very direct for anyone else.
Still the most direct player in the comp. Yeah.
Probably went back at the ruck. But I just noticed once or twice, and I was like, oh, I'll just flag that. Just interesting to see if that's something that either I just saw and thought happened and then didn't happen the rest of the game, or he's consciously gone, whilst I'm still going to play as direct as possible, I'm not going to go deep into the line now because my body simply can't sustain it. And I mean, they played well and they won big, so maybe he can still dictate terms.
He'll retire at the end of next year.
Just
anyway.
change
He'll
his
get
role.
over it. He'll toughen up.
Anyway, that's just one to watch for his left edge back rower.
It's regardless. It's still good to be the back row outside Kieran Foran.
Good spot to be. Dave Fafita probably back this week by the looks of things. So where does he slot in? I don't know what the plan is, but
Win a Manly Seagulls or something.
yeah. But we'll see. There's a bit to play out, but that's all I got tonight. Spy talk,
right.
done and dusted.
All right, we need to get moving here, Spy, because you've got an OzTag semi-final and
Championship to win.
according to your words, grand final to get to.
Let's rock.
Hot topics most traded in and out. There's actually not a lot on here, but number 2, Jack Bostock, 534k, 53-point average, 176 last week. Bombed a try late on as well
For
a
the
fifth.
double ton.
Negative 72 break even. Thoughts?
If you need money, for sure, that's the only reason. Otherwise, you're using an extra trade that is unnecessary. But yeah, if you're really desperate for 150k, it's the only way to do it. I get it, but it sort of screams chasing last week's points. He'll have big scores in him for the rest of the season, but would I really want to play him week in, week out? I can't answer that until I see a few more tougher games for the Finns. So he's not going to hurt you and he'll make you money, but I just ask yourself why you're doing it.
He has scores this year of 31, 13, 24, 31, 19. Pass.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nah.
For money, yes. If you want a bit of quick cash and you're sitting there going, no, I haven't generated as much as I thought or I wanted, you can do it. But, yeah, at 534k. If it was 350k or 400, yeah, I'll just do it, grab the cash. But it's 2 trades. Unless the Dolphins continue to absolutely hum, maybe they do. But like on the run home, they've got a Raiders, they've got a Manly at Manly, they've got a Roosters, Warriors, like Sharkies. There's some tough games. You're trading him in, you're trading him out.
Look, it's one extra trade if he was your bridge to someone that you already wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Number 3, you know what? We'll get to your trades because I know what you're doing. We'll talk about him later. Number 14, most traded in, Zach Lomax, 737k, 72-point average, a break-even of 129. If Zach Lomax backs up on Sunday, you'd imagine he'd be every chance for Parramatta against the Titans. It's a good matchup. The halves are out, not ideal, but what do you reckon? Could you go early on Zach Lomax?
Yeah, I didn't pencil it in this week, actually, for Val Holmes. But now that Kiraz is returning, I need him back in, and a certain Lehigh Hopewadi appears to be fullback from next week on, and his halves are out, and he's backing out from Origin. I'm just going to put the feet up, and there'll be a time for Zach, but it's not for me this weekend. But if you want to do it, I mean, he's pretty awesome. You just hope he's got some gas in the tank after Origin 2-0 victory.
Yeah, both halves out worries me a little bit. How much quality ball he'll get. Big break even.
He'll have 25 runs in Perth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, I think it's okay, but
Titans
it's
into
not
Dragons.
I know.
Geez, they're good matchups.
Look, I'm not going to knock anyone having a crack at it.
I'm also not going to because I've got Kiraz on my radar for next week and there's a lot of money going around there. But, yeah, also not begrudging anyone that is. Now, among the most sold players for this week, there's Ola, Keon, Tamale, Harodi, all these injured players. Tom Trbojevic, 485k, 46 break even. you feel Crook selling Tom Turbo, who's actually playing for that price. But on the bye this week, with so many good fullbacks, well, not a lot of great fullbacks at the moment with our Origin issues as well, but bite the bullet, sell him.
I was going to say he has to go, except for the fact that he's now going to be playing in the centres, so you could flip him down to the centres after his next 3 games. Will he make that?
No.
Oh, no, that he won't make the cut-off. So, no, he's a sell. He's just not himself.
He has played centre he played centre in... No, he won't get it, really. Because I think he's played 1 game at centre this year. What, first game back?
Maybe. I can't remember back
But
then.
I don't think he'll get it. Imagine if you got Jewel. To be honest, the way he's playing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's not
If he's playing centre, you're not getting him anyway. So sell?
He's sell.
Yeah, I need to sell too. Spy, trade and skipper plans for this week. What do you got?
Pretty easy one this week. We've got Nathan Cleary straight to Jerome Hughes. Excited to welcome Jerome back into the fold. Owned him for a while last year, and I'm hoping he can do some big things.
Yep.
And that's all. I do have 300k in the bank, though. So, as always, I'll just have a little meander on the phone before bed each night, and if I find something I really like, maybe I'll jump on it. But I already want Kiraz and Lehigh probably next week or pretty soon, so I'll probably save my trades for then.
Yeah, there's a bit to play out, of course, this week, guys, with Origin on tomorrow night. The New Zealand Key and Climate-Tungy as well, if that happens to be longer. So we'll keep you updated throughout the week as it goes on in the later podcasts and the WhatsApp chat, of course. But for myself, still weighing up a few different options, Spy, but definitely Kiraz next week. I don't mind a sneaky Fermor play. I'm eyeing him like I could do a potential Olakau'atu to Fermor play, but locking in Kiraz next week, and I really like William Kikau as well. And I think because people won't get him this week due to the bye and people make other moves, it might keep him relatively low ownership. So I don't mind that play at all. And the other one, I've got a few people that I could move to him this week, but Sifa Talakai.
Yes.
We've waited a long time for this, but Sifa is at centre. Now, the question is for how long? We know Kael'Iro is out for an extended period. 3-0, he's out for an extended period. Hirotti's 4 to 6 weeks. If he's out for 4 weeks, I'm not sure the trade is worthwhile because he has the buy in round 18.
You'd just keep Talakai, though, for the year. You wouldn't be selling him on.
He becomes bench fodder. Like, he goes back to becoming a 30 to 40 minute bench player. I wouldn't say an AE nightmare, but like...
Unfortunately, he only plays 2 weeks and he's got the bye. So, yeah, by that stage, Hirotti may be back.
Round 19.
You get 2 games out of him. But tell you what, if you're looking to downgrade someone, free up some cashola, he's perfect.
And the other thing there is, like, if Hirotti's a bit longer and Sifa kills it at centre, he could stay there. Like, he's a gun at centre.
He's just a gun player when he's
in a
on.
good side, well, for the most part, a good side. They're batting a bit of late, yeah. So I don't mind a little Sifa play. I would want to get confirmation by the end of the week that it's more toward that 6-week mark for Hirotti. If it was 4 weeks, I'd be nervous with that round 18 bye.
Fair enough.
Captains?
Pretty easy this week. It took me 2 seconds. VC Pappy into Skipper James Tedesco. Done and done.
Boom.
Yep.
Me too.
Excelente.
Couple of questions, Spy, then we'll get you to the big semi-final. First one from Murray Ring. I'm thinking that the hooker position is now somewhat redundant. I've got McInnes and Pax, who I don't play. Would Grant or Appy be worth it after the Origin period? So just a general what your hooking plans are, Spy. And tell you what, devastated for poor old Sammy Walker that he had an injury setback on return from the ACL. Cannot take a trick at the moment. From a purely Supercoach perspective, breathed a sigh of relief as a Sandon Smith owner. Very highly owned Sandon Smith, and I think he can just get people by. Obviously, they're on the bye next week, the Roosters, but I think you'd run him. What are you thinking at hooker?
I think in Murray's scenario, I'll just be rolling McInnes through until such time as you need to make a trade, or you may not need to. Let's see how Harry looks post-Origin. If he gets his health back, sure, it'd be good for the run home. But at the moment, I think hookers, we're just rolling with it for the next month until we know who the option may be, running home, Connor Watson, whoever it may be.
There's no one. I'm with you. Like, if you've got Sandon, Riley Smith's playing 80 minutes and punching out good base, whoever it might be, Cam McInnes, you're definitely told. And then whatever's happening in your reserve spot, who gives a shit? So I think you just run it. Yeah. And then, but I do want Harry Grant post-Origin. I would love to get him into my team.
Nice.
Yeah. Next question from Awesome Maxi. With Scott Drinkwater floundering, is there a world where Jaden Campbell is better off in your third fullback slot and Galvin Munster are the go-to 5'8", assuming Galvin is named next week? So I think the question there, Spy, what's the plan with Drinky after another poor score, 2 in 3 weeks? And secondly, is there a world where with not a lot of fullbacks going off at the moment, could you go a third 5'8" or a third halfback if you want to keep Cleary sort of thing in the flex?
You definitely could look at it. But last week was a write-off for Drinky. The Cowboys got physically dominated, assaulted by the Dolphins.
Yeah.
He was never going to be much chance to create or do much. He scored 100 in Melbourne the week before with their normal team, 71 the week before. Did have the write-off 14 against Manly, so we know he's got that low game in him, but he also scored 117, 127, 132 3 weeks before that. So, no, he's going nowhere for me at this stage. Roosters into the Titans next week, into the major bye, into covering round 19. We're going to have a look again in round 20 if we want to run home with someone else.
Where's the Titans game? Is it in Townsville?
Seabus, but still
Regardless.
pretty good.
Like, if that's a game where the Cows fire at full strength and the Titans don't turn up, like that, it could be a 180 game for Drinky.
Yeah, he's got it in him. Any sort of go forward and Drinky is your man.
I mean, 180 it's not an exaggeration. He could, but it could be a walk onto the field and score a ton.
Yeah. Also, that 105 against Melbourne, he dropped one over the line and got is that far short of another one. That could have been 150 in Melbourne.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think it's just a hold. Question from Luke. Would you go early for Angus or Angus Crichton or wait until round 19? One we didn't mention in the back rows has been named to back up from Origin. They play on Sunday, the Roosters.
Sunday at 4, I think they play.
Okay, so he's got the 4-day backup, ample time. Will probably play, 60 to sort of 80 in Origin, probably 80. I think he's every chance at resting, but is he on your radar? Because he hasn't had a great year by his standards.
He's not yet. Want to see him get through Origin first healthy. No, I'm not getting him in right now. Definitely not.
I want him for the run home.
Yeah.
But right now, as you said, even if he plays this week, I can't see him playing 80 or even necessarily 65, 70. I think it'd be less. The Roosters have the bye in round 17. He misses round 18. Does he back up round 19? But from after that, once he's back to 80.
About the bye next week. Definitely not then.
Yeah. Spy, last one from Adam Sargent. Is it true the Spy is going to start up an OnlyFans, catering to dads with sexy pics like this one of you enjoying the footy with the fire and a beer in hand, no wife or kids annoy him? I'd pay a coffee a week to see that. There was a photo circling on Spy socials. Go and give the big fella a follow. SC Spy 7 on Instagram, SC Spy 1 elsewhere. Talk to us.
Troops, I'll tell you one thing. If the demand's there, you want to give me some moolah, I'll give you whatever you want.
Not a coffee, though.
No, I'd have to swap coffee for something else, but that's okay.
Not a coffee.
We'll figure something out.
A beer a week.
If the demand's there, I'm in. That's all I got to say.
All right.
Yep.
That'll do us for the SC Playbook podcast this week. Spy, good luck in the big game. Keep us updated on socials.
I need to wake up.
You'll be right.
I'm knackered, but we will, of course.
Yeah.
I'll let you know how we go.
All right.
And no, not.
Cheers, guys. So we'll be back later in the week. The listener Q&A podcast, half that podcast, all sorts of stuff going on. The WhatsApp group will be there, so we'll keep updated with players backing up in Origin, trade plans, skipper plans, anything updated. But for now, have a good week and go the Mighty Blues.